Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 12-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Large slate tonight. We got some big prizes to win over on DraftKings and FanDuel, so excited to get into it. Before we do, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. And we did reach the like goal on yesterday's video, 50 likes, so that means that today you're going to get the Dark Horse Play of the Day, new segment I'm going to be introducing every single time we get to 50 likes. As the channel continues to grow, I'm going to be making that goal a little bit higher. But for now, we're going to stick with the 50. Got there last time, so I'm going to give you guys my Dark Horse Play of the Day, my sneaky play that a lot of people may not be on, that are in a good spot that could pay off big in tournaments. In the middle of the video somewhere, so be on the lookout for that. And then as always, I'll give you guys my home run call of the day at the end of the video. And if you are interested in some further content from me, if you're getting really serious about MLB DFS, I do offer some premium content that's linked below in the description. You get access to all of the sheets that I use when I'm building my own lineups. I think it's going to help you become a much more profitable MLB DFS player, so check that out, link below. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. As always, I like to put and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. We're going to figure out the top pitchers that we want to play on the slate today, and then we'll get into bats. And the top guy in the slate today is a little bit of an outlier because it's Fanduel Mlb taking on the Colorado Rockies, and he's been somewhat limited in his return from injury. So while he does grade out very, very well as far as K rate and everything, not sure we can really go here, because if you look at his game logs, he's only thrown 29 and 30 pitches the last two times out. Last time out, he was removed from the game. Supposedly, it wasn't due to injury. It was just, I don't know. He was rusty. Seemed a little bit sketchy to me, and I'm not really sure if you can really rely on him. He is priced in the mid-range over on FanDuel. They've got him priced at, let's see, 9K. On DraftKings, they got him priced down to 7.4. So, I mean, I just don't feel comfortable going there. Not to mention he's in Coors Field, which is the worst pitcher's ballpark you could ask for. Go ahead and pulling out my sheet here. If you're not aware, Coors Field is an absolutely great hitter's park. So all green on the sheet. Not the best for pitchers. And for those reasons, I don't think I'll be playing Fanduel Mlb today. Second on the list, we got Freddie Peralta taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. A 33.8% K rate overall, 13.8 swing strike rate, 34.1% K rate against righties, and then a 33.3% K rate against lefties. Really good across the board. The only problem is he's taking on the St. Louis Cardinals today, which is a team that doesn't really strike out all too much. He's in Milwaukee. He's a 122 favorite. And he's definitely going to be a viable option because of just how good his stuff is and his K rate and everything. 8.6 on FanDuel over on DraftKings. They've got him priced at 9.4. It's just a matter of the matchup, and there's going to be definitely some other guys in the slate that have, just much better matchups than what he's dealing with today. But great talent. You could definitely be playing him. He has some upside. Shohei Ohtani's next on the list, only a 20 innings pitch sample size. He does have a 38% K rate. He also has the same issue taking on a Houston Astros team that really doesn't strike out. 40.9% K rate against righties, and then a 26.8% K rate against lefties, though. And the Houston Astros do have quite a few righties. And Shohei Ohtani, I mean, we're not dealing with the largest sample size, but a 40% K rate is a very, very impressive number. So you can make an argument that maybe he's viable. He's 9K on FanDuel over on DraftKings. They got him priced at 7.4. So, I mean, he's an elite talent. He could definitely get you there in tournaments, and you can make an argument. Just know the matchup's really going to be tough. In Houston, they just don't strike out. So it's going to be tough going there. You got Robbie Ray taking on the Atlanta Braves. Going to be kind of tough to promote him against an Atlanta Braves team that also doesn't strike out. And Robbie Ray has some pretty hard contact issues against right-handed hitting, and the Atlanta Braves have quite a few righties. So, viable tournament option. I'm a little scared to go there. My favorite option that we've talked about so far is going to be this next guy in Walker Buehler taking on the Seattle Mariners, a team that's been striking out all season long, really bad up and down in their lineup. And Walker Buehler has a 28.8% K rate overall, a 12.1 swing strike rate, 29.2% K rate against righties, and then a 29.3% K rate against lefties. Really, really good across the board. His one weakness would be hard contact against right-handed hitting. But as mentioned, I really like targeting this Seattle Mariners lineup. He is a 245 favorite. Vegas expected him to pick up the win very easily. Comes in at 10.8 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they got him priced at 9.8. And I think that he's the first guy that we could really be taking a hard look to on this slate today. A very good spot taking on the Seattle Mariners squad. So I like Walker Buehler a lot. Luis Patino, you can see my highlighted. He's going to be the probable opener taking on the New York Yankees, so he's only going to pitch like an inning, so he's irrelevant. We can talk about him when we talk about bats. He struggles against right-handed hitting, and the Yankees have a lot of right-handed bats, so maybe something to keep an eye out for there. A little cliff note, but Kenta Maeda taking on the Chicago White Sox, 27.6% K overall, a 15.1 swing strike rate, 32.9% K rate against righties, and then a 22.8% K rate against lefties. We do prefer to target him against very right-handed heavy lineups, if at all possible, just because his K rate's so much better against right-handed hitters. And when looking at the Chicago White Sox lineup up and down, you can see that they do have a fair share of righties, fair share of lefties, kind of a nice little blend throughout their lineup. And Kenta Maeda is a guy that's really been struggling his last few starts. Like, traditionally has been a very good pitcher. I think that he's going to bounce back eventually, I would hope. Last time out, he allowed 0 earned runs, 8 Ks, 94 pitches, 5.1 innings pitched against his Texas squad. Of course, Texas has been one of our favorite teams to target all year long, so it's kind of easy to look good against them. You could make an argument. But Kenta Maeda's track record, he's just been really good, and the White Sox do have a decent amount of strikeouts in their lineup. And he's priced very reasonably. 7.6 on DraftKings over on FanDuel. They've got him priced at 7.3. And yeah, I think he's a viable option. Like, it's a little scary when a guy has recent form issues, and he's kind of been all over the place. But breaking down these pitchers as we go, you know, he's got one of the best matchups you could ask for as far as compared to some of these other guys, like Ohtani taking on Houston, Peralta taking on the Cardinals. I definitely think that Maeda is going to be a viable option today. Matthew Boyd taking on the Kansas City Royals has some hard contact issues against right-handed hitting, but also does have a pretty decent K rate across the board. Another tournament option similar to like Robbie Ray that we talked about. But he's taking on the Royals, which isn't quite as good of a lineup as the Atlanta Braves in that situation. And he does come in as a 118 underdog, so Kansas City Royals only have a 4 implied run total. I kind of like that, and Matthew Boyd definitely has some upside, so I think he's an intriguing option today for sure. Lance McCullers taking on the Angels. I'm not really looking to target them traditionally, but they have kind of, you know, they got rid of Pujols. Their lineup's looking really washed down, and really just not that good. So I'm starting to think that targeting the Angels might be wise of us. They have Trout, Walsh, Upton, and Ohtani in the middle of the order typically. Ohtani's pitching, and he might not even be in the lineup tonight. So if that's the case, it's another downgrade for them. So McCullers could be an interesting option. Good ground ball, fly ball stuff. 23.1% carry against righties, and then a 28.5% carry against lefties. I wouldn't call you crazy if you want to play McCullers. Eovaldi taking on Oakland's another guy that you could be playing with a decent K rate. 23.9% K rate overall, 23.6% K rate against righties, and then a 24.1% K rate against lefties. Jordan Montgomery, I think, is in a great matchup for the New York Yankees taking on the Tampa Bay Rays today. The Tampa Bay Rays have really been struggling against left-handed pitching, and Montgomery is a left-handed hurler himself. 23.3% K rate overall. The ground ball, fly ball stuff's all respectable. Does have some hard contact issues against right-handed hitting, with a 22.3% K rate and a 25.8% K rate against lefties. And more specifically, just the Rays have really been struggling against lefties. And then when you're factoring in that Montgomery's going to Tampa Bay, which is a much better pitcher's park than the Yankee Stadium, I think he's in a really good spot here. He's only 6'4" on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they got him priced at 7.9. So you get a very nice discount on him on FanDuel specifically. And pulling up the Trop as far as how it plays to hitters, you can see Tropicana Field. Very good pitcher's ballpark. A lot of red on the sheet. So I think that Jordan Montgomery for the Yankees is in a good spot in this one. Brady Singer taking on the Detroit Tigers, the young talented flamethrower, 23.3% K rate overall, a 25% K rate against righties, and then a 22% K rate against lefties. Has looked pretty solid across the board, and you get the Detroit Tigers team that's been striking out a ton. So definitely in a good spot here. Definitely could be an intriguing option. I think that he might be kind of a diamond in the rough pick that maybe a lot of people don't know about. He's 7.8 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they got him priced at, let's see, 5.7. Very friendly price tag over on DraftKings specifically. That's really cheap. FanDuel, they got him kind of priced up for the matchup, I'm sure, 7.8. But good option. Madison Bumgarner taking on the Miami Marlins. Another guy you could be looking to. Has been really bad, but has kind of stepped up lately. Has had some good games. Looking at his game logs here. You can see 7 Ks last time out, 6 Ks the time before, 7 Ks the time before, and all with like 0 or 1 earned run. Last time out, it was against Miami, 7 Ks, 1 earned run through 6 innings pitched. So that's a very good performance from Bumgarner. Looking at him. And I'm trying not to name like all these guys, but at the top, there's just a lot of guys that are good that just don't have the greatest matchups. So these guys down here are going to be much more viable than you typically think. John Means taking on the New York Mets has been really good this season. I'm not really sure that I'm all too interested in paying up for him. He's priced way up on FanDuel. They got him priced at $11K over on DraftKings. They got him priced at... I don't see him. Oh, yeah, he's priced up on DraftKings as well at 10-3. And he's been very good, but that's just a steep price tag to be paying for John Means against the New York Mets team. That's not the worst lineup. So, Marcus Stroman taking on the Baltimore Orioles. They have a really high K rate, and he's got really good ground ball, fly ball stuff, and a decent K rate. I think he's definitely a viable option today, and that's probably where I'd end things for pitching. You know, that's a pretty good summary. Those guys I mentioned are really they're going to be the core here. With that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, I like to sort my sheet by Sierra, skill, interactive, ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in his career and how good he's expected to be in the future. Shohei Ohtani's worse on the list, but we do have a small sample size, 20 innings pitch sample size. I will say that looking at his splits, he's really good at limiting the slugging, so he's just an elite talent overall. I'm not really all too interested in targeting the Houston Astros. You could in tournaments, and they're going to be low owned, I'm sure, taking on Ohtani. That's a name that probably scares people away from him. They do have a 4.63 implied run total. That's a decent amount. So if you want to go to the Houston Astros in tournaments, I wouldn't call you crazy, but I'm not getting too excited to do that. First guy to be targeting is Justin Dunn, taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's terrible. The hard contact stuff's terrible. He has a 279 slugging given up to righties, and then a 457 slugging up to lefties. Specifically, really bad against left-handed bats. And I'm willing to target the righties as well, just because the Dodgers lineup is that good. But the lefties tonight are going to be great plays. Corey Seager, Max Muncy, Matthew Beatty, Gavin Lux. I really like them. Specifically, Corey Seager and Max Muncy are in great spots taking on Justin Dunn tonight, so you got to have interest in them. Bryce Wilson taking on the Toronto Blue Jays, really bad across the board. Hard contact stuff, ground ball, fly ball stuff's really bad. He gives up a 509 slugging to righties and then a 682 slugging to lefties. And this kid just has really been struggling. 47 innings pitch sample size. The Toronto Blue Jays have a lot of talent up and down their lineup for both sides of the plate. They only have a 4.12 implied run total, which kind of throws me off. I'm wondering if we're going to get confirmation that Wilson's just the opener and or long reliever here. But I'll be honest, if they only have a 4.12 implied run total and they're not expected to get any ownership on this slate today, I will be all in on these Toronto Blue Jays because Bryce Wilson just hasn't really been good. Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Teoscar Hernandez, Randall Grichuk, Cavan Biggio, Lourdes Gurriel, Danny Jansen's even been hitting the ball well. 1 through 9, going to have a lot of interest in these guys. And, yeah, I like them a lot, especially that Vegas line's throwing me off. If we get confirmation it's a different pitcher or something, that'll make sense. But if it's Bryce Wilson, I'm going to like these Toronto Blue Jays. Eric Fetty taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's good, but everything else really isn't the greatest. A 439 slugging given up to righties and a 435 slugging given up to lefties. Really below average pitcher, and he's taking on a Philadelphia Phillies team that's really starting to heat up here. In Washington, good hitters park. Pulling up the diagram for you guys real quick. You can see a lot of green, specifically to right-handed hitters that like to pull down the line, but the right field line is not terrible for lefties either, and overall just a good hitters park. Singles, doubles, triples is a little bit of an issue, but we don't really target the triples. We want the home runs for the most part, and the Philadelphia Phillies are definitely going to be in a good spot taking on Eric Fetty. They got a bunch of left-handed power, guys like Bryce Harper, Didi Gregorius, and then also some really good righties. Gene Segura, JT Realmuto, Rhys Hoskins has a bunch of power. Andrew McCutchen at the top of the order. Definitely an interesting stack. Fetty, unfortunately, can be a little bit frustrating to stack against because of the ground ball and the fly ball stuff. I always say it like you could be cruising along through the innings and he's just giving up a lot of hard contact, but it's going like right at the outfielders or right on the ground to the shortstop and second baseman, and it can be irritating. But every once in a while he'll get blown up, so definitely viable to be targeting. Antonio Senzatella in Coors Field, best hitting environment in baseball, taking on a San Diego Padres team that's absolutely stacked up and down. It's going to be scary for him. A 470 slugging given up to righties and a 483 slugging given up to lefties. And he has to take on this Padres team who, as mentioned, just has so much talent. Looking up and down, definitely going to have interest in these guys. They have a 5.31 implied run total. The only knock you could make on them is it does look like it's going to be kind of crappy weather out there in Colorado. It's only going to be 42 degrees, but still a great hitter's park, and You got guys like Fernando Tatis, Trent Grisham, Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer, Will Myers, Jake Cronenworth, 1 through 6. Really going to like them. And then you can round out your stacks with guys like Jurickson Profar and Victor Caratini if you need some salary relief. No issues going to them either. And Senzatello just doesn't strike anyone out. So the ball's going to be put in play early and often in this one. In course field, that usually leads to good results. So you got to like the San Diego Padres stack today. Dylan Cease taking on the Minnesota Twins, the guy that's been really struggling early on his career. He's expected to have a bunch of talent, but the ground ball, fly ball stuff hasn't been there. A 421 slugging given up to righties, and then a 469 slugging given up to lefties. And he's taking on a Minnesota Twins lineup today that is pretty stacked up and down. It's in Chicago. They have a 3.91 implied run total. Another team that has a pretty low total that I'd be willing to go against Vegas on because they got guys like Max Kepler, Josh Donaldson, Nelson Cruz, Jorge Polanco, Mitch Garver, Trevor Larnach, Miguel Sano, Jake Cave has a bunch of pop. Think they're going to be an interesting one to be looking to today for sure. Chase Anderson taking on the Washington Nationals, a very reverse splitsy pitcher. He's a right-handed pitcher that struggles against righties, is much better against left-hand pitching. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's all pretty bad, though, and he's really, really bad against right-handed, hitting a 538 slugging, giving up with a 372 WOBA. Not going to get the job done, and we're looking at what Washington's expected to roll out today against him. They do have some right-handed power with guys like Trey Turner, Josh Harrison, Starlin Castro, Yan Gomes. And then, of course, the lefties in their lineup are guys that can crush as well. And it's not like Chase Anderson has ungodly good numbers against lefties. It just gets better for him. Still pretty bad overall. So the Washington stack, I think, is going to be an intriguing one. You can definitely put Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber, the power bats in the middle of the order as well. And feel pretty good about it. I think I like stacking up those guys today. Kwang-Hyun Kim taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. A guy that's been really good at just limiting hard contact, letting the ball be put in place. So I'm not really looking to target the Milwaukee Brewers. They're not the best lineup. John Means taking on the Mets. I'm not really looking to target him with Mets bats all too much outside of the righties with power, which they do have quite a few. Like, this might be the spot where John Means gets blown up. He's priced all the way up. The Mets have a 3.454 implied run total. You got Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Kevin Pillar, James McCann, all pretty decent against left-handed pitching. Albert Almora at the bottom of the order. I'm not getting too excited to stack them up, but I'm also not getting too excited to play John Means. So, Luis Patino opening against the New York Yankees. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's really, really bad. He's been giving up a lot of slugging to righties and has been pretty good against lefties, which isn't going to treat him well against this Yankees lineup because they're very right-handed heavy. 414 slugging up to righties, and then they're going to transfer it over to Ryan Yarbrough for the long reliever. And looking at his numbers across the board, he is much better against lefties as well because he's a left-handed pitcher himself. Does give up a decent amount of hard contact to righties. Nothing too crazy, but enough to where the Yankees could be a sneakier stack than I think most people are going to be aware of. I don't think they're going to be the most popular. They're in the Trop, which is in the best hitting environment, as mentioned earlier. But looking at Patino's numbers and then knowing that they're going to switch it over to Ryan Yarbrough, a left-handed thrower, taking on some of these right-handed power bats, there's also a possibility that Luke Voigt's back in the lineup. If that happens, that's a huge upgrade to this Yankees lineup, and Luke Voigt crushes lefties, so would gladly put him in my lineups in his return. Gigi LeMahieu, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Luke Voigt, Gleyber Torres, Gio Urshela, Gary Sanchez, Clint Frazier. Literally every single bat in this lineup is going to be right-handed, and they get to take on a guy that sucks against righties, and then switch it over to the lefties. So I think the Yanks are a sneakier stack than some might be aware of. Chris Bassett taking on the Boston Red Sox has been really, really bad. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's all terrible. A 358 slugging given up to righties, and a 412 slugging given up to lefties. Just really below average, and I think the Red Sox stack's going to be definitely an interesting one to be looking at today. Looking at where they're playing and everything. They're in Fenway Park in Boston. They have a 4.47 implied run total. It's expected to be 59 degrees with 12-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to right center. And I definitely think that the Red Sox are in a good spot here. Alex Verdugo, JD Martinez, Sander Bogarts, Rafael Devers, those core four are always going to be the ones you're really looking to, and then no issues with rounding out your stacks with guys like Christian Vasquez, Hunter Renfroe, Bobby Dalbec, Franchi Cordero. Definitely a pretty decent spot for the Red Sox tonight, and no issues with going to them. Robbie Ray taking on the Atlanta Braves. Overall, K stuff's good, swinging strike stuff's good, but he has a really bad hard contact issue, 41.9% hard contact rate, a 490 slugging unit up to righties, 42.8% hard contact rate against righties, and a 357 WOBA. Really, really bad. Against lefties, he gets a lot better, but these Atlanta Braves have a bunch of right-handed bats that really crush left-handed pitching. which I think could cause him some issues. They have a 4.88 implied run total. Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, William Contreras, Christian Pache up and down the order. In a really good spot here, I think, overall. And this is going to bring me to my dark horse play of the night. Let's get into it. And my dark horse play of the night tonight is going to be Christian Pache in the 8th spot at the bottom of the lineup for these Atlanta Braves, taking on Robbie Ray, who I mentioned has some hard contact issues against right-handed hitting. A name that a lot of people may not know, top prospect of the Atlanta Braves, and when looking at his numbers overall against lefties so far over the last 2 years, he has a 304 ISO with a 296 WOBA. Lots of hard contact from Christian Pache at the bottom of the order. Love this spot for him. I think he's going to be really low owned in a sneaky spot. So he will be my first pick for this new segment. He is my dark horse play of the night. So there you have it, guys. New segment. Christian Pache, bottom of the lineup. He's going to be low owned. I think he's going to be in a great spot tonight. Get him at some low ownership. He's minimum salary on FanDuel over on DraftKings. He's only 2-3. Sneaky play for you. And I think that he's could really pay off for you in tournaments. So like him at the bottom of the order. I like William Contreras, Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley. All these guys taking on Robbie Ray and the hard contact issues. Definitely going to be some interesting options tonight. Madison Bumgarner taking on Miami. We had mentioned he's really turning things around, but overall his hard contact and everything's been really bad over the last 2 years. A 474 slugging, giving up to right-handed hitting. And yeah, just kind of easy to target as far as, from a right-handed bats aspect. It's in Arizona, which is a pretty good hitter's park overall. Guys like Jesus Aguilar, Garrett Cooper, Adam Duvall, Brian Anderson, and Lewis Brinson all interest me against left-handed pitching. I think they could be a low-owned stack that you could definitely be looking to. And then once we get past him, things start to go downhill here pretty quickly. Lance McCullers taking on the Angels. Not really looking to target him. You got Eovaldi, who gives us some hard contact against righties and lefties, taking on the Oakland Athletics. I guess you could play an Oakland Athletics stack. I mean, they're on the road. It's in Fenway. The wind's blown out. Mark Canha, Jed Lowry, Ramon Laureano, Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, Mitch Moreland. I actually think that they're a pretty good stack today. And then things start to die down pretty quickly. The Kansas City Royals righties taking on Matthew Boyd. That can really crush. Whit Merrifield, Salvador Perez, Carlos Santana, Jorge Soler, Hunter Dozier. Those guys are going to be interesting options today. You could be playing them. You could also be playing Matthew Boyd, as I already mentioned. And Jordan Montgomery taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. I mentioned playing him as a pitcher. Does give up a lot of hard contact to righties. And the Tampa Bay Rays, you could be playing the guys that crush lefties. So guys like Randy Arozarena, Manuel Margot, Yandy Diaz, Mike Rousseau specifically, Mike Zunino, Willie Adames. You could stack those guys up as well. And that is my overall breakdown of this 12-game slate. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Corey Seager taking on Justin Dunn. I mentioned his hard contact issues against lefties. Terrible ground ball rate, terrible fly ball rate, a 375 WOBA giving up, a 457 slugging to lefties. Just can't seem to get them out. And when looking at what he throws as far as his repertoire is concerned, he's really reliant on 2 pitches, really just the fastball curveball combination. And when looking at what he throws, on average is going to be about a 93 mile an hour fastball. Corey Seager features a 310 ISO with a 427 WOBA against that pitch with a 61.1 hard contact percent. And then as far as the curveball is concerned, Seager crushes that pitch as well. A 375 ISO with a 398 WOBA. Really like this spot for Corey Seager tonight, and he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Corey Seager, get him in your lineups, and that is all for me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. And then don't forget to get the Dark Horse segment for next video. We got to reach that 50 like goal. Check out my premium package, link below in the description if you're interested in getting real serious about MLB DFS. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.